There's a force more powerful than talent, more necessary than luck, and more enduring than any strategy or resource. It is desire, but not casual interest, not fleeting enthusiasm, and certainly not the hollow wish of the idle dreamer. The desire that births greatness is an obsession, a white-hot, all-consuming fire that refuses to be extinguished. It is a force that occupies the mind, governs the decisions, fuels the late nights, and pushes a person beyond the edge of reason into the territory where only the exceptional dare to go. Greatness has never been birthed in convenience. It does not arise from a lukewarm interest or an occasional effort. It begins when a human being says with full intensity and conviction, "I will no matter what." That statement, if meant deeply, sets a chain of events in motion. Desire in its purest and most powerful form becomes the seed of creation. From that seed, plans are formed, disciplines are adopted, and obstacles are faced head-on, not as reasons to stop, but as challenges to grow stronger. Every person who has ever stood out, every innovator, champion, leader, or builder, started with a vision that burned in their minds so vividly they could see it before it existed. They did not merely hope for it. They demanded it of themselves. They did not wait for conditions to become ideal. They made the decision first, then adjusted reality to fit their vision. That is the power of true desire. It doesn't ask for permission. It creates the conditions for fulfillment through sheer will and relentless pursuit. Desire must be more than an emotion. It must be transferred into obsession. The average man or woman gets excited briefly, perhaps when they watch someone else succeed or when they hear an inspiring story. They talk of change, of ambition, of dreams, but only until the difficulty begins. Then they retreat back into the comfort of mediocrity. Why? Because they never transform interest into fire. Because they never made the decision to want something with every part of themselves, mind, body, and soul. A burning desire refuses to negotiate with doubt. It does not give in to the opinions of the timid, the criticisms of the cynical, or the fears of the unsure. It does not shrink when others say, "Be realistic." It grows stronger. When others quit, it continues. When failure appears, it does not interpret it as the end. It sees it as a necessary part of the journey. It studies the lesson and goes again, smarter, harder, hungry. There is a difference between wanting to win and needing to win. Most people want to win when it's convenient, when it fits their schedule, when the risk is low. But those with burning desire operate with need. Their vision is so intense, so clear, so vital, that the idea of not reaching it is unbearable. They move with a level of conviction that makes them immune to distractions. They're not tempted by shortcuts, comforts, or applause. They are not in it for the praise. They are in it for the result. Burning desire transforms identity. It changes how a person sees themselves. A man with average ambition says, "I would like to become successful." A man with burning desire says, "I am successful. I'm just in the process of revealing it." That level of belief bends reality. It reshapes how time is spent, how challenges are faced, how relationships are chosen. Desire becomes the compass, the map, and the engine. It becomes the reason to wake up early, the motivation to stay up late, the justification for sacrifice. You cannot teach desire, but you can find it. It often lies dormant, buried under the opinions of others or the layers of social conditioning. Many have forgotten what they once wanted, settling instead for what the world told them was possible. But when that inner voice is allowed to speak again, when a person listens to what truly excites their spirit and ignites their soul, desire is reborn. And once it is reborn, it can be fed through vision, through purpose, through action, and through persistence. Like a flame, the more oxygen you give it, the more it grows. And when it grows large enough, nothing can put it out. Race achievement is not the ones who had the easiest path. They are the ones who wanted it the most, who were willing to endure more, to risk more, to stretch farther than anyone else. Their desire eclipsed their excuses. Their hunger outlived their hardships. Their obsession with the outcome made every setback a mere stepping stone. The average ask, is this going to be hard? The unstoppable ask, is it worth it? They already know the answer, and their desire makes the cost irrelevant. So few truly desire success with intensity, and that is why so few reach it. But the door is always open. The path is always waiting, and it does not discriminate. It does not require permission. It only asks one thing: how bad do you want it? Because once that question is answered with your actions and not just your words, you begin the process of becoming unstoppable. Indecision is the enemy of progress. It drains the spirit, wastes time, and leads men and women into lives of quiet frustration. To outperform, to become unstoppable, to rise above the masses, you must first become clear. Absolutely, ruthlessly clear. What do you want? Not what sounds good to others, not what fits into polite conversation, not what you think you should want, but what you deeply, specifically, and unapologetically desire. The moment a person defines their true aim, down to the smallest detail, they become dangerous to the forces of mediocrity. Vague goals have no magnetism. They cannot pull the mind forward. But definiteness of purpose, the kind that burns through confusion like a blade, commands the attention of your subconscious mind. And when the subconscious mind is given a clear, fixed target, it begins to bend every perception, every decision, and every resource in your life toward its achievement. The world does not respond to the hesitant. It responds to the decided. The man who says, I might do this or I might do that, gets nowhere. His life becomes a fog of half attempts and faded dreams. But the man who says, this is what I will do and I will accept no substitute, immediately begins to move differently. He acts with finality. He speaks with certainty. His steps may not all be perfect, but they are aligned. And alignment, to decide exactly what you want, is not a one-time event. It is a continual reaffirmation of your deepest commitment. Life will test you. It will throw distractions, doubts, temptations, and delays. The uncommitted are lured off course easily. They chase new opportunities, get discouraged quickly, and justify their detours. But the truly decided, they remain fixed. They adjust tactics, yes, but never the target. The decision is already made, and that decision is non-negotiable. Do not confuse desire with decision. Desire is emotional, it's the spark, but decision is structural. It is the frame you build your life around. It is the firm line in the sand that says, this is where I stand. This is what I will build. This is who I will become. Decision hardens the vision into discipline. It closes the doors to distractions. It eliminates the illusion of options. And this is where your power begins to multiply. When you refuse to compromise, you declare to yourself and to the world that your standards are not flexible. You are not here to take whatever is offered. You are not playing the game to participate. You are here to win, and that means you will not settle for half victories or hollow praise. You do not adjust your dreams to match your environment. You adjust your environment to match your dreams. You raise the stakes. You push through the discomfort. And you do so because your vision has been chosen, not borrowed, not suggested, but chosen by you and for you. Most people spend their entire lives negotiating with their goals. They want success, but not if it means giving up comfort. They want excellence, but not if it requires sacrifice. They want to lead, but not if it means being judged. And so they water down their goals, revise their timelines, shrink their vision, and end up with lives that fit inside the boxes others built for them. The achiever The one who outperforms rejects this path entirely. They are not afraid to want more, to expect more, and to demand more from themselves and from the world. The act of decision is an act of courage. It requires you to say no to everything that doesn't align with your ultimate aim. That may mean walking away from people who don't share your values. It may mean declining good opportunities because they pull you away from great ones. It may mean enduring the loneliness that comes with walking a path that few understand. But clarity gives you strength, and that strength becomes, once you know what you want, truly, specifically, and fully, you gain a new kind of focus. You no longer wake up unsure. You no longer scatter your energy across dozens of mediocre pursuits. You concentrate your time, your energy, your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. You become a force of intention. People can feel it when they speak to you. They sense the seriousness in your tone, the intensity in your eyes, the steadiness in your presence. You stop needing to explain yourself because your conviction becomes self-evident. Definitiveness does not mean rigidity. You can adjust your approach, refine your methods, learn, and adapt, but you do so without ever compromising the end goal. You remain loyal to your original aim. You don't trade it in for something easier or safer or more popular. Your decision becomes your personal law. You hold yourself to it even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because that's when character is forged. That's when the difference between the dreamer and the doer is made visible. There is a moment in every journey where the temptation to settle becomes almost overwhelming. You'll be offered less than you're worth. You'll be told your goal is too much, your dream too big, your path too difficult. And in that moment, your previous decision will either protect you or betray you. If you've decided deeply, you won't flinch, you won't fold. You won't even slow down, because you'll already know that every compromise is a step away from who you were meant to become. And that is a price you're not willing to pay. There is no substitute for effort. In the realm of high achievement, talent is only a starting point, and even then, it is often overrated. What separates the elite from the average is not who they are on day one, it's how relentlessly they show up on day 100, day 1000, day 1001. To become unstoppable, to outperform everyone else, you must make an internal agreement that no one will outwork you, outlast you, or outlearn you, no matter the conditions, no matter the pace, no matter how long it takes. Effort is a great equalizer. While others are waiting for motivation, you work. While others are hesitating because things aren't perfect, you move forward. While they're distracted, debating, or delaying, you're sharpening your tools, refining your craft, and executing with precision. The one who wins is not always the one with the best resources or the best connections. More often, it's the one who kept showing up long after others grew tired, bored, or discouraged. Outworking the competition doesn't mean sprinting for a short time. It means committing to a sustained, disciplined, intelligent grind. It means putting in the hours no one else sees. It means taking no shortcuts. It means doing the deep, focused, boring work while others are chasing novelty and dopamine. It means working through the weekends when needed. It means not needing applause to keep going. It means doing it when you don't feel like it because your purpose overrides your mood. Outlasting your competition is about endurance. Not physical endurance alone, but mental and emotional resilience. The ability to remain focused when the journey gets long, when the rewards are delayed, and when the results aren't visible. Most people quit too soon. They start fast, filled with excitement, but the moment the work becomes repetitive or hard or lonely, they retreat. The one who outlasts does not rely on adrenaline or excitement. They rely on commitment. They've built their discipline like a muscle. They keep going, because stopping simply isn't an option. Your greatest advantage may not be speed, it may be stamina. The power to keep showing up, improving slowly and steadily until you've created a gap so wide between yourself and the competition that it can no longer be closed. Outlasting is not glamorous. It doesn't always come with recognition, but it is where excellence lives. It is where mastery is formed. It is where dominance is earned, inch by inch, hour by hour, year by year. Then there is outlearning. In today's world, knowledge compounds. What you know, how fast you can learn, and how quickly you can apply it. These are tools that separate the elite from the average. Never assume you know enough. Never become so proud of your current level that you stop seeking the next one. The person who outlearns everyone else becomes more adaptable, more valuable, and more difficult to replace. They don't just react to change, they anticipate it, master it, and capitalize on it. Outlearning requires humility. It demands that you admit you do not yet know it all. It requires that you study when others are entertained, that you read when others scroll, that you reflect when others complain. It means seeking mentors, listening deeply, and challenging your own thinking. It means embracing feedback, even when it hurts. It means turning every mistake into a classroom, every failure into a curriculum. Those who outlearn are dangerous because they evolve. They don't stay stuck in one way of thinking, one level of performance, or one approach to life. They are constantly leveling up, acquiring new skills, discarding old limitations, and reinventing themselves. And because of this, their growth is exponential. They move from one phase of competence to another with fluidity, while others remain static, clinging to what they already know. When you combine these three forces, work ethic, stamina, and intellectual hunger, you become nearly impossible to compete with. You may not be the fastest at first or the most gifted, but you will rise because you'll be putting in more focused hours. You'll be staying in the game longer. You'll be learning more, faster, and deeper than anyone else. And this combination builds unstoppable momentum. Eventually, those who were once ahead of you fall behind, not because they got worse, but because you refuse to stay the same. This triad, outwork, outlast, outlearn, is not flashy. It's not built on gimmicks or shortcuts or public recognition. It's built on habits, on choices made in private, on decisions to keep pressing forward when nobody is watching. The masses want secrets. They want hacks. But the truth is simple and unglamorous. Do more, stay longer, learn faster. Those who commit to this path separate themselves from the pack, not overnight, but inevitably. Each day presents a choice: to coast or to dig deeper, to quit or to persist, to remain static or to evolve. If you choose to outwork, outlast, and outlearn your competition, you place yourself in the rare category of those who are not merely trying to win, but who are becoming so prepared, so consistent, and so sharpened that winning becomes the natural outcome. The mind is the control center of your entire life. Every action you take, every word you speak, every habit you form, every limit you believe in. It all begins with what you allow to take root in your mind. And yet most people treat their minds carelessly, leaving the gates wide open for doubt, fear, distraction, and mediocrity to march in unchallenged. If you want to be unstoppable, if you truly aim to outperform everyone else, then you must treat your mind as your most valuable. You must guard it like a fortress under siege, because it is. Ideas are powerful, but so are poisons, and both often look the same at first. Every day people absorb negativity from conversations, headlines, scrolling feeds, complaining coworkers, uninspired friends, or the subtle whispers of their own insecurities. These inputs seem harmless in isolation, but over time they build a mental fog that clouds judgment, erodes ambition, and sabotages the will to act. The mind doesn't always distinguish between what's intentionally planted and what drifts in passively. It simply grows what it's fed. And if you don't control the input, you will lose control of the output. A strong mind is not a product of accident or genetics. It is the result of relentless discipline. It must be trained, pruned, directed, and defended. Just as a fortress has walls to keep intruders out, your mind must have boundaries. Clear, firm, unapologetic standards for what you allow in. You must learn to say no to conversations that go nowhere. You must walk away from people who drain your energy. You must starve your mind of fear-based messaging and shallow distractions, not out of arrogance, but out of necessity, because you cannot afford to feed your focus with noise. Starting your mind begins with awareness. You must become ruthlessly aware of what you're consuming and how it's shaping your thinking. Ask yourself daily, what am I reading? Who am I listening to? What am I allowing to take up space in my consciousness? Are these things building my courage or weakening it? Are they reinforcing my belief in what's possible or sowing seeds of limitation? Are they sharpening my vision or dulling it? The truth is, most people live in mental environments that actively oppose their growth. They are surrounded by small thinking, guided by fear-driven narratives, and constantly bombarded with messages telling them to be safe, average, and agreeable. If you do not take command of your mental environment, you will inevitably inherit the beliefs of the masses. And the beliefs of the masses do not produce greatness. They produce comfort, they produce conformity, they produce compromise. To guard your mind is to become a gatekeeper, deciding deliberately what thoughts are worthy of your attention and which must be denied entry. Not every idea deserves your time. Not every emotion needs to be entertained. Not every voice should be given a platform in your inner world. You are not obligated to believe every thought that passes through your head. You can observe it, question it, and reject it if it doesn't serve your mission. This level of mental discipline is not common because it requires effort. It means doing the inner work most people avoid. It means sitting in silence instead of seeking distraction. It means confronting your limiting beliefs instead of pretending they aren't there. It means rewiring your self-talk until your inner voice becomes your ally, not your enemy. It means learning to speak power over your own life, even when the results haven't caught up yet. A fortified mind is built on repetition, affirmations, visualization, gratitude, intention. All tools that seem basic until you understand their true power. The mind is shaped by what it hears most often. If you speak strength, you will think with strength. If you speak victory, you will act with victory. If you dwell in possibility, you will begin to see opportunities where others only see obstacles. This isn't wishful thinking, it's the science of focus. What you focus on expands. And yet, guarding your mind is not just about defense. It's also about elevation. It's not enough to shut out the negative. You must also flood your mind with the positive, the visionary, the empowering. You must study the stories of those who have done the impossible. You must learn from the minds of giants. You must listen to voices that challenge you to rise higher. You must surround yourself with content, mentors, environments, and rituals that should sharpen your edge. And the quality of your mind determines the quality of your actions. And the quality of your actions determines the quality of your results. If your mind is cluttered with fear, insecurity, or distraction, then no amount of ambition will produce lasting success. But if your mind is focused, fortified, and locked onto your purpose with absolute clarity, then even in the face of adversity, you will hold the line, you will make decisions with calm precision, you will execute without hesitation, you will move through chaos with order, and through doubt with certainty. Guarding your mind is a daily discipline. It is not something you do once and forget. Just like a fortress must be constantly patrolled, reinforced, and protected, your mind must be kept under conscious management at all times. You must rise each morning with intention and end each day with reflection. You must inspect your beliefs like a commander inspects his troops, not with fear, but with purpose. You must remain vigilant, Because the moment you drop your guard, the world will attempt to impose its thinking upon you. A success is never solo mission. The myth of the self-made individual is seductive, but it's incomplete. Every great performer, leader, and visionary throughout history has been shaped not just by their work ethic or mindset, but by the people they allowed closest to them. Your inner circle is either your greatest asset or your most dangerous liability. It will either elevate your standards or erode them. It will either reinforce your greatness or reinforce your excuses. And if you truly want to be unstoppable, to outperform everyone else, then you must build an inner circle that demands your excellence. Most people surround themselves with familiarity, not excellence. They stay close to people who make them feel comfortable, not people who challenge them to rise. They cling to relationships that echo their existing beliefs, not those that stretch their thinking. But excellence cannot survive in comfort. It needs friction. It needs pressure. It needs the presence of others who refuse to let you settle for less than your potential. To build a circle that demands your excellence, you must first be willing to let go of the one that tolerates your mediocrity. This is not a decision born from arrogance. It is a decision rooted in vision. You cannot soar while tethered to people who are content crawling. If the people around you don't inspire you, sharpen you, or expect more from you, they are slowing you down, whether you see it or not. Your inner circle should consist of people who operate at a high frequency, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. They should have their own visions, their own disciplines, their own refusal to accept average. These people won't applaud you for doing the minimum. They won't let you rationalize your fears. They won't sit quietly when you start drifting away from the person you said you wanted to become. They hold you accountable not because they want control, but because they believe in who you can be, even when you temporarily forget. The right circle does not flatter your ego. It sharpens your edge. They challenge your assumptions. They give you real feedback. They ask better questions. They refuse to let you coast. They make you uncomfortable at times, but only because they remind you of the standard you committed to. Iron sharpens iron. And if there's no friction in your circle, chances are you're not growing. But this level of proximity must be earned. Excellence does not associate closely with inconsistency. People who operate with clarity, integrity, and execution don't spend their time with those who waste it. To attract high-caliber individuals into your circle, you must first become one. You must carry yourself with excellence. You must be the kind of person who adds value, not drama, who speaks vision, not gossip, who takes action, not shortcuts. Your energy must signal seriousness. You cannot fake your way into a circle of the committed. They will sense the difference. They will feel whether you are driven or drifting. They will watch how you speak about your goals, how you carry yourself, how you follow through. They will test your character in small ways. Because when you walk among the focused, your distractions become obvious. And that is why many avoid the company of the excellent, because it exposes what they've been hiding from. But if you're willing to rise, to do the work, to operate from a place of deep integrity and commitment, then you will begin to attract others who do the same. And when you do, the game changes. Suddenly, your conversations change. They become more intentional, more strategic, more ambitious. The standards shift. The energy rises, and you begin to think bigger, not out of fantasy, but because you are surrounded by people who prove every day that bigger is possible. A powerful inner circle also acts as a mirror. It reflects back to you not just your progress, but your blind spots. It helps you see what you've been avoiding. It brings truth to the surface. And though it may be uncomfortable, this is the fastest way to evolve. You can only grow as fast as your awareness. And often that awareness comes from others who are willing to tell you what you don't want to hear, but absolutely need to. And your circle should also be diverse in strength, not just in background, but in skill. You need people who think differently than you, who have mastered different disciplines, who can fill in the gaps you don't even see. This isn't just about motivation. It's about strategy. A great circle helps you make better decisions, avoid unnecessary pitfalls, and accelerate your results through shared wisdom. But even as you build this circle, you must also protect it. Guard your proximity fiercely. One weak link, one cynical, energy-draining, excuse-making presence can contaminate the entire environment. The wrong person in the right room can dull the edge of everyone in it. You must be vigilant. This is not about being cold, it's about being clear. You are not building a social group. You are building an environment for expansion, and that requires intention. You don't need 100 people in your corner. You need a few solid, powerful individuals who call you higher, who hold you to your word, who remind you of your greatness when you're tired, who won't let you quit when things get heavy, who'll measure you by your standard, not your comfort, who'll expect your best even when you feel like giving your average. This is how you build something that lasts. At some point in every pursuit, when the excitement fades, the results stall, and the doubts grow louder, this is the phase where most people fall off, not because they lack talent or vision, but because they fail to persist. They misinterpret silence as failure, slow progress as a sign to quit, and invisible results as the absence of impact. But the truth is, in the journey of achieving anything significant, progress is rarely loud. It is subtle. It is quiet. It hides in the details. And only those with unbreakable persistence ever live to see its full power. Persistence is the ability to continue when nothing around you is validating your effort. It is the internal fire that doesn't dim just because the world isn't applauding. It's the choice to keep going when motivation is nowhere to be found and everything around you whispers give up. Most people want results quickly. They want visible proof that they're moving in the right direction. They want instant feedback, rapid milestones, and undeniable wins. But that's not how greatness works. Greatness operates on a delay. It rewards those who remain loyal to the process, long after the novelty has worn off. Invisible progress is still progress. The reps you put in when no one is watching count. The skills you refine when no one is paying attention matter. The character you develop through daily discipline compounds over time. Just because you can't see the payoff today doesn't mean it isn't building. The root grows long before the fruit appears. And if you give up before it shows, you never discover what was quietly forming beneath the surface. Persistence is not blind repetition. It is strategic endurance. It's the discipline to keep refining, adjusting, and showing up with intention day after day. It means learning from setbacks, but not being defined by them. It means recognizing that failure is not the opposite of success, it is part of it. Each failed attempt, each delay, each challenge is a lesson in disguise, designed to strengthen your resolve, clarify your approach, and test your commitment. The real test of persistence comes when nothing external is reinforcing your effort, when there's no praise, no reward, no recognition, when the only thing keeping you going is the belief that what you are building matters, even if no one else sees it yet. That belief, when combined with relentless effort, becomes unstoppable. Because persistence is not just about what you do, it's about who you become in the process. It transforms you. It molds your mindset, deepens your focus, and hardens your commitment. The invisible moments are where champions are forged. It's easy to keep going when everything is working. But what about when it's not? What about when progress is microscopic? When the obstacles seem never ending? When your goals feel farther away than when you started? This is where most tap out. They tell themselves it wasn't meant to be, that they're not cut out for it, that the timing isn't right. But the ones who win don't entertain those thoughts. They keep moving. They trust the compound effect of daily effort. They understand that mastery takes time and excellence is earned slowly. Every major breakthrough is preceded by a long stretch of silence. A stretch where nothing seems to be happening, where the only growth is internal, where the only victories are invisible. But persistence turns that silence into strength. It teaches you how to keep building when there's no applause, how to keep running when the finish line is nowhere in sight, how to keep believing when logic tells you to doubt. The road to victory is not lined with fireworks. It's paved with repetition, with early mornings and late nights, with setbacks and comebacks, with frustration and focus, with doing the hard thing again and again, not because you have to, but because you've decided that quitting is not an option. Persistence is not about having the energy. It's about making the decision every day, no matter what. Even the greatest achievers, those at the top of their fields, faced long seasons of invisibility, seasons where no one cared, where the world ignored them, where their work seemed to go unnoticed. But they kept going, and in doing so, they crossed the threshold from effort to inevitability. That's what persistence does. It shifts your outcome from maybe to must. Because once you've endured the delays, the doubts, and the dryness, success is no longer a matter of chance. It becomes a consequence of consistency. In a world obsessed with speed, persistence is your greatest advantage. While others bounce from one pursuit to the next, chasing the next shiny opportunity, you stay planted. You keep digging, you keep building, and in time the results begin to appear. Not all at once, but steadily. What was once invisible becomes undeniable. The shift happens slowly, then suddenly. And when it does, the world calls it an overnight success. But you know better. You know it's persistence, brick by brick, day by day, that turned that invisible effort into inevitable victory.